Hello there, ladies and gents, and welcome to DigiTrib. If this is your first time joining us, we are going to be taking a look at Mass Effect Andromeda. For those of you who have been a subscriber to the channel and have been following me for a while, since I first got started, a few months ago, almost a year ago now, but have really only started investing myself in this channel, I apologize for being away for a month. I know that that's probably really shitty because you're wondering where I went and I didn't give any kind of status update of any kind. I actually got a message from one of you saying, hey, where did you go? Are more videos coming? Yeah, they're coming. They're here. Hopefully they're here to stay. The reason why I've been gone, for those of you who are subscribers, I owe you a little bit of an explanation. Life's been incredibly busy and kind of hectic and kind of shitty for me right now. So it's been a bit of a struggle to find the inspiration to actually do these videos, as well as work has made it a little bit hard to focus on this because I hadn't had a day off in a very long time, and editing these videos takes a lot longer than even I thought it was. So that's fun. But with that out of the way, gosh, did it seem like I wanted to rush through that. I'm sorry for being gone, everybody. I'm back, and the content will start coming more and more frequently. But enough about that. Let's actually talk about what we are all here to see and play and watch, and that is Mass Effect Andromeda, BioWare's RPG, which is the follow-up to the 2012? Yeah, I think that's when Mass Effect 3 came out. The 2012 hit/flop. One of the most divisive RPGs in history. We're finally getting more Mass Effect. It's taken a little while, hasn't it? But yeah, it's finally here. And the critical reception of it so far has been a bit of a mixed bag. We've gotten the 10 hours of EA access for everybody who decided to, give that a shot. And I know that that's probably the only time people have been using EA access is for Mass Effect Andromeda here. And then a lot of people have just been getting the copies early for review because it's getting around that time. And by the time this video goes up, the game will probably be out. But it's opened up with a bit of a mixed bag, hasn't it, by this point? The game it's struggled. It's really struggled. A lot of the reasons it's been struggling is because people are saying that the narrative is weak, and people are saying that the facial animations are absolutely hilariously bad, and the characters are kind of lame. Well, I want to throw my 2 cents into this, and I want to start off with the storyline and the presentation of it, right? Everyone is comparing it already to Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and I'm actually a little bit guilty of doing that myself. However, I think that that's not necessarily fair because what BioWare is trying to do is they're trying to break away from the original Mass Effect trilogy as much as possible, to the point where they're actually throwing us in an entirely different galaxy 600 years in the future, right? They want as little to do with that controversial ending and all of that craziness as possible, and it makes sense, right? If you've played Mass Effect 3, then you know that it had vastly different endings, which completely changed the outcome of the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, and so trying to follow up with that would have been a very hard challenge. So they were just like, you know what, forget it, we'll just focus on a new period in time and go from there. And I think that that's honestly the smartest decision that they could have made. That also means that the entire tone and feel of the narrative is going to be vastly different. You're playing as a Pathfinder. You are the pioneers that are essentially going out to colonize a brand new galaxy. You are the first people there, and so there is a certain weight with that, but there's also a sense of adventure. Mass Effect 1 had a sense of mystery and wonder to the universe that Mass Effect 2 and 3 was lacking because it was establishing everything. And now Mass Effect Andromeda is coming back and it's going to try to do the same thing. I don't think it's done as good a job, right? I think that so far it's kind of just, okay, it feels like a J.J. Trek Star Trek movie, which isn't a criticism of it, but it's lacking that sense of wonder, which I feel like they totally could have captured with this game, but they didn't. Maybe it'll, continue to feel more amazing and exotic and crazy as time goes on, but from the 5 hours that I've played of the game, right now I'm kind of just like, in terms of being wowed and blown away, it hasn't really done it for me. So I guess you could say that that's where the story kind of falls a little bit short. They dropped the ball on the wow factor of creating something new and unique all over again. However, that being the case, you're getting more of a Star Trek feel, like I said, with it feels like JJ Trek, whereas the first 3 Mass Effect games was more of a war story, right? You were trying to stop this apocalyptic catastrophe from happening and killing everything, and in this one, you are just a band of adventurers. Most of you aren't soldiers, and you all want to start a new life. So that's kind of cool. I hope that the game's narrative will continue to get stronger, which leads us into the characters. And I am inclined a little bit to agree with the early impressions of the game. I think that the characters that have been introduced are okay, but they're nothing like Garrus or Mordin or Tali or Rex or any of our favorites from the Mass Effect franchise. But we also had 3 games to get used to them, and I'm only 5 hours in. So hopefully they actually leave a heavier impact. However, at the start, I will admit that I'm a little bit disappointed with how they act and what their personalities are like. Now, I could be completely wrong, right? Maybe this will blow up in my face later for saying this, and people will be like, this game has amazing characters, but right now, it's not exactly doing it for me. The facial animations are bad. There's really no real way around it. They look plasticky, and they react way too much to what's going on. And what I mean by that is, when you talk to a regular person, their eyes, they kind of move a little bit to the left and right, and but they're generally focused on you, or they look around a little bit, but that's it. In Mass Effect Andromeda, their eyes are swiveling from left to right like crazy, or they're dead locked on you and not doing anything. And then you've got these flappy mouths that are just going all over the place and acting ridiculous. And it's really jarring because the faces look decent. The faces look good, especially on a PC if you have something that can handle it. And then you've got this animation where it doesn't look like they used any kind of motion capturing at all. And what they instead tried to do was animate the individual movements on the mouth and the face to make it look like a real person talking, but it kind of comes off as this slack-jawed flappiness that just it doesn't look good. It doesn't. There's no way around it. However, that being the case, I will say that the animations in terms of movement are not terrible. There have been a few issues here and there, like in one of the cutscenes, BB actually she picks up the gun and she fires it at this one robot, and she's holding the gun backwards, which I thought was kind of hilarious. And then there was, of course, the meme where the lady's kind of doing the little shuffling with the feet across the floor to go and talk to somebody, and it looks like she's doing some kind of dance, and it's kind of hilarious. And there's the one where the person's running and it looks like she's shitting her pants. However, those instances are very few and far between, and I think that the actual motion and feel of the way the characters move is pretty decent. With that comes a cover system where you no longer snap to cover pressing the A button or whatever, or the space bar. Instead, you just kind of move yourself into cover, and it's what a lot of game devs have been experimenting with these days, right? You saw it in things like The Last of Us. It's a similar system to that, only it doesn't work quite as well. There are times when I just don't know if I'm going to actually snap to cover or stick to cover, or if Ryder's just going to stand out in the open and just wait to get shot in the face. So that's something that I think that needs a little bit of a tweaking, but I don't think that we're going to be getting that. I think it's a little bit late for that. The dialogue options have been replaced. Whereas before you had a Paragon and a Renegade system, now instead you just have traditional conversation pieces. Similar to The Witcher 3 or to Dragon Age 2 and so on. There's no option that's this is the good option, this is the bad option. You're left instead to infer your own opinions on what's going on, and then you just make a decision that seems natural for you. And I like that. I think that it makes Mass Effect a little bit more advanced, it makes it a little bit smarter, and it makes you actually feel more like you're the character rather than creating some predestined, this is going to be a good character and this is going to be a bad character. It leaves you to make more natural decisions about the actual game. But going back to movement, I want to talk about the combat in the game. It's a lot faster than the other Mass Effects, and I think that it is for the better. Mass Effect's combat was good, but it was never the reason you played Mass Effect, right? No one said, I'm picking up Mass Effect because I want to have a kind of standard third-person shooter with some RPG elements. Now, however, the combat is a lot faster, the powers that you can cycle between happen a lot quicker, and the enemies hit you a lot harder as well. We're playing it on, me and a few other friends who help me out with Digitrip are working and playing on the second hardest difficulty, and it's pretty damn challenging. And the customization that goes into it is seriously going to help you, which is something that was lacking from 2 and 3. So overall, I think that the combat has been significantly refined in a great way. The exploration of the game is also, this game is huge, right? This game is very, very big. I think that they were saying that one world in this game is bigger than all of Dragon Age Inquisition, which is impressive. However, I hope that for that expansiveness, we also get a sense of depth I think is the best way to put it, right? I want depth. Because you can have any kind of big open world game. You look at any Ubisoft game, from Far Cry to, I don't know, The Crew, Division, Assassin's Creed. You've got these big expansive worlds, but a lot of them just are filled with, fetch quests or collectibles, and there's nothing that really justifies the need for it to be that huge. I think that the only RPG that really felt like it deserved its size was the Witcher series. The Witcher 3, I think, nailed how an open world should feel. And of course, there's also Bethesda games, all right? Fallout and Skyrim are no-brainers. The amount of freedom that you get with those is great, and so you can basically live in this world and do whatever you want. I hope that BioWare is able to accomplish that with Mass Effect Andromeda, and it's not just vast empty spaces with nothing going on, because that was a lot of what happened in Mass Effect 1, and that's also a lot of what happened with Dragon Age Inquisition in a lot of ways. There was just big empty spots where nothing really, it didn't need to be that big. So we'll see. Lastly, the last thing that I want to talk about with it is the multiplayer. Now, I've been doing the multiplayer for 2-ish hours, maybe like around 2 hours. I was playing with 2 of my friends, and then this one random dude who popped in. Hey, I told you that I put you in the video, right? He subscribed to the channel also, so he's gonna get to see himself, and he got a reference. But I would say that the multiplayer is as fun as it was in Mass Effect 3, and equally as challenging again. We haven't unlocked too many characters, so I can't say how in-depth it all is, but as it stands, as an extra feature to an already big single-player RPG, it's a welcome experience, and it's a lot of fun, and I can see a lot of replay value to be found in that system. A lot of the same way that it was in Mass Effect 3. Ironically, I played the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer long after the story had ended because we were just always having such a good time with it. It's a really good horde mode, and I think that with the added movement system and the new cover system, that when it does work, I think that it'll make for a very fun experience. I think that that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover for this little first impressions video. Overall, I enjoy the game. It's not gonna be as good or impactful as Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I can pretty much already guarantee you that. However, that being said, I think that as a standalone game, if you've never played a Mass Effect game before, you've got something to look forward to with decent combat, decent story, characters that are unique enough. If you've never played any of the other Mass Effect games before, then all of these weird aliens will come as a surprise to you. And the exploration looks to be pretty decent. And driving around in the new Mako is a lot of fun. And the multiplayer is good. So, what do you guys think so far? Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out tonight, or by the time this video gets uploaded, it's probably already going to be out. So I would love to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you would like to hear more of these kind of first impressions videos. I'm sorry if I sound rusty at this and I don't exactly know what I'm doing. It's been a little while, so it's going to take a little bit of time for me to get back into the overall swing of things, right? I haven't been practicing, and so it's kind of fallen apart a bit, I'll be honest. It's a bit of a struggle to get used to this again, but I think that in time, it'll all be back to normal, and the schedule will be a lot more consistent. I'm actually going to do a review on Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm going to go back to playing it right now, and I will let you guys know what I think about it in detail as soon as possible. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around and still subscribing. You are all the best. I didn't think I was going to get this far, and the fact that you are all still here tells me that I've got something really special in my hands, and I am not going to give that up. So thank you, everybody, for sticking with me, and I will see you all around next time. Have a good one.